It is so wonderful to be sipping the tea again. With Georgia Senator, Atlanta Senator
And we're
Raphael
gonna do it like
Warnock.
if we're gonna do it like this, I'm gonna represent a great federal organization that's in Georgia, the CDC. Good
That's
to be
right.
with
That's
you.
right.
Good to be with
Cheers.
you, April.
Yes, it's great to be with you, sir. Sir, I am so glad to be with you. I'm tired of being with all of these people who've attended HBCUs and they jump on me and say, "Where's your paraphernalia?" Well, I've got Morgan on. I know you're Morehouse. Where's your Morehouse?
It's in my heart. Well, you know, I got a little tinge of maroon here.
All
Maroon,
right, all right, all right.
maroon,
Well,
right? Yeah, yeah, a
hey,
little bit, a little bit.
this is the blue and orange. But sir, you and as we talk about HBCUs, you are really focused in on HBCUs and research, the HBCU Research Capacity Act. And this comes at a time when we are anti-DEI and anti-woke, and we're wondering whether our HBCUs can actually focus in on programming that deals with race. So talk to me about this HBCU Research Capacity Act in this moment.
Thank you so much. Listen, I often say that HBCUs uh, are always punching way above their weight. They've been doing so much for
Yes.
so many with
Hmm.
so very little for so long that we just expect them to keep working miracles.
Yeah.
And what they do, in a real sense, is miraculous.
Yes.
Let's start with the fact that most black students, by the way, don't attend HBCUs,
That's right.
and that's fine. There's a whole ecosystem. I'm just pointing out that most black students don't attend HBCUs, but when you look at black leadership
Hmm.
in this country, and when you look at black scientists and doctors and
Yes.
researchers,
Yes.
HBCUs are disproportionately represented in terms of where black professionals are coming from.
Right.
And
And that's been historically the case.
that is the case. So there's something special that happens on the campuses of these schools. I know about which I speak as a proud Morehouse graduate. But
Morgan.
uh, my bill seeks to put just one more tool in our hands to help these schools to get the resources that they deserve.
Uh-huh.
Not only because that will help the schools, but quite frankly, it will help the competitive edge of our country in a moment where the global competition is fierce
Yeah.
and is being sped up by AI. We need
Yeah.
our best and brightest minds. And so this bill, when made law, will make it easier for these HBCUs to get the research dollars they need.
So the what is the importance of these research dollars for schools like North Carolina A&T? And I know that they do research there. Howard has done research. I know was it Clark does research, correct? And I know Morgan State, my alma mater, is working towards that highest research level R1 research. What is the importance though in this moment? Because as you lift up the CDC, a lot of people are concerned with information coming out. I guess I'm answering my question. A lot of people are concerned with the data coming out of the CDC, and we're now leaning onto other areas of data.
Well,
Is that
see,
what some of this is?
well, CDC is a first-rate institution in spite of the pillorying that it's getting from the Trump administration. If you ask people all around the world, they still look to the CDC for the information that they need. That's another topic. But let me say that it's really important that these HBCUs begin to get more research dollars than they've historically got. Number one, as I said, the country needs it. Uh, because of AI and other factors, we are in the midst of a real race for the
Mm,
kind of competitive edge that will set the global order. And if you look at the ambitions of China, for example,
yes.
it is in the enlightened self-interest of our country to make sure that we create the kind of pathway so that we can benefit from the brilliance of all of our people. I don't care what you call it. You can call it DEI, you can call it something else. If you don't like DEI, don't call it that. But we have to have a pathway so that the country benefits from the brilliance of all of our citizens in order to maintain a competitive edge for our nation. I want the 21st century, like the 20th century, to be the American century. And that is not a foregone conclusion now, 26 years into this century. We've got some real challenges, particularly given the recklessness with which the current administration is driving us into a ditch. But my bill, which I partnered with my Republican colleague Katie Britt
Alabama.
of Alabama to put
Yeah.
together, cuts through government red tape and puts all the various opportunities for research dollars in one place and on a website, so that these institutions can more easily access them. And why is that important? If you think about some of the big universities with a lot more capacity, they got whole departments focused on nothing but this.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that these small HBCUs, they don't have the resources to do that kind of thing. And so this makes it easier. So number one, it's better for the country, to answer your question. Number two, you might be surprised to see how much of the budget of these big universities and colleges is supported by research dollars. So it creates revenue for the school so that it can continue to do its mission. And then number three, who's at the table matters, because it determines what research questions even get asked. Some research questions that we ought to be pursuing never even get asked because certain people are not in the room. I'll give you one example of something that's pressing and a matter of life and death in our community, and that's maternal health care and maternal deaths. First of all, our country far outpaces any other wealthy nation. Way too many American women die, American women, period, having babies. But for Black women, it's 2 to 3 times the rate of their white sisters. And that's for Black women, while it shouldn't matter, that's Black women with college degrees and income and insurance. We need brilliant minds at the table. We need Black women at the table who are helping to guide the direction of the research, asking the kinds of questions that are necessary to solve the kinds of human problems that we need solved.
So, and this brings me to this Democrat-Republican fight over issues. You're partnering with someone across the aisle. Donald Trump embraces HBCUs, well, at least in his words when he speaks, saying that he's the president who's given the most to HBCUs, when it's actually Congress who has the purse strings that did it.
Well, it's not true, but anyway, that he gave the most, but
Oh, I know that, right? It was Congress that, right? Yes, and we can, yeah. I'm very much in agreement, because actually at that time, that first term, Steve Bannon told the HBCU presidents, "Well, it's unconstitutional. We can't do it," but Congress did it anyway. So people need to know the truth, like you're alluding to. But in the midst of this, do you believe that if there's research in an HBCU on issues of Black men and prostate cancer, Black women and that rare form of breast cancer, will they be able to perform that if those dollars come in? Because again, we're in that crazy time that, oh, you can do research or you can read a book as long as it's not focused in on slavery or on a certain culture or community.
Well, you're putting your finger, April, on some of the foolishness and recklessness of these racist policies that are coming out of the Trump-Vance administration. They've literally, in 1984 Orwellian style, outlawed certain words in the lexicon of the federal bureaucracy, and put these words in a computer, and you literally find yourself eliminating things that don't make any sense at all.
Right.
Certain words you can't say. You can't say the word gay. And so, other than the fact that our gay sisters and brothers get diminished in that process, literally, where the word means happy, all of a sudden it becomes a problem and you don't even know what you're eliminating.
Right.
So, I mean, and that's a real example. I'm not making this up. So
I know. And the word diversity, you can't even have diversity or
you,
equality. Yeah.
it's nonsense.
Yeah.
So um, I'm glad that in the midst of this moment in which we find ourselves, I was able to partner with my Republican colleague from Alabama and put forward this measure, which will create opportunities for HBCUs that don't get the research dollars, haven't historically, that they deserve, to more readily see what's available and to map out a strategy that puts them in a good position to get the research dollars that they need. We only have one R1 university among our HBCUs, the Great Howard University. We've got 10 HBCUs in my state of Georgia alone. And I think it's a shame that we only have one R1 university. It's not for lack of ambition or intelligence on these campuses. It's a lack of resources and opportunity. And this is one tool in the toolbox uh, uh, for helping to address that problem. And I intend to keep building on this work.
Senator Warnock says HBCUs produce roughly 20 to 25% of all Black STEM bachelor degrees. Think about this, and I know this was before you and I were born. Charles Drew. Think about
Yes,
Charles Drew, the
yes,
great Charles Drew, a
yes,
Black man who created the current modern blood donation system.
right.
He worked on many campuses to include Morgan State. STEM, blood donation stem. I think about North Carolina A&T. Years ago, I was there and it blew my mind. They might not be an R1 research institution, but they're still doing the research. They were doing something with a pig, trying to make a leaner pig to send it overseas to Africa to
Mm.
help in some of these countries that really need more healthier foods. So, right, it's there's still research going on, but you are trying to ensure that we lift it up higher and bring it into the HBCUs because we only have one out of what is it, 100 and how many HBCUs now?
I don't know the exact number right now
It's like
offhand.
100, 500. Yes, it's
Yeah,
around that.
something
Yeah.
like that.
And only one of them is an
Yeah,
R1 research institution.
one,
That's
one,
ridiculous.
one. And you mentioned Charles Drew, and the list goes on and on. The classic example is George Washington Carver,
Come
and
on.
I talk about Carver because of what he did with a potato, what he did with a peanut,
Yes.
and he made all of these products out of potatoes, peanuts,
Sweet potatoes. Sweet
and
potatoes.
an incredible
Yes.
facility, right? But now we're talking about chips, right? Not potato chips, but chips. And so you
Yes.
got to have. My point is, you got to have some money.
Yeah.
You got to have some resources in order to do that work. By the way, NVIDIA has a major chip. They named them after top-notch researchers. I can't remember offhand the gentleman's name, but it's named after a Black researcher who was an early pioneer in AI. We're in everything. There's
I
no
love NVIDIA even more.
yeah, we're in everything. And
Yes, we are.
again, I'm excited about this piece of legislation, and I hope to build from here.
What's the cost? What's the cost? What do you expect? What do you want? And what do you think you will
What I
ultimately get?
what I want is to see more HBCUs get the research dollars that they deserve, so that we can get the research done that will benefit our country. And I'd like
Mhm.
to see more of those universities become R1 universities.
And lastly, two things I want to ask you other than this. Um, you, oh my gosh, Atlanta, Hartsfield Airport. Oh, have you been flying in and out? Those TSA lines are out the door going past Delta. What is going on? I mean, I know Democrats want to fund this partial government shutdown as far as TSA and FEMA, but not ICE. And ICE is standing behind TSA. They're getting paid, and TSA is not getting paid. This is crazy. What do you say to this?
This is Trump's America.
Mm.
He is an agent of chaos. We're troubled by these lines. Apparently, he's not troubled at all, because not only is he refusing to allow us to move forward with a deal where we would fund the rest of DHS, except ICE, while we continue to negotiate and talk about ICE. We can't ignore the horrors that are happening there. Not only that, Donald Trump has now added the SAVE Act to the mix. So imagine this: you're already in a complicated negotiation where there is a huge difference in principle between Democrats and Republicans about what ICE is doing right now on American streets. Unmasked, masked men jumping out of unmarked cars,
Mm.
creating havoc and terror,
Yes.
kidnapping a 5-year-old in order to capture his parents,
Mm.
uh, running into people's homes without warrants. Things that I thought I learned in ninth grade civics that just weren't allowed in our country.
That's
And
right.
you have all of this going on, an unaccountable paramilitary force, and all we're trying to do is hold them accountable. All we're saying is they ought to operate under the same basic rules of engagement that we expect from all of our law enforcement
Yeah.
entities. And instead of hearing that, they're so committed to these kinds of paramilitary operations that are foreign to our country, that they're willing to hold everything hostage in order to do this, including TSA workers. And so, if that weren't bad enough, Donald Trump then came and said, "Don't negotiate with the Democrats. In fact, we won't. We're going to refuse to pay the TSA workers until the Democrats vote to pass my voter suppression bill." He knows that's a non-starter. He knows that Raphael Warnock is not about to vote for his voter suppression bill. He knows we're not going to pass that bill. And
Especially as you preach in Ebenezer Baptist, as you're down the street from the King Center, as you were the pastor of the late John R. Lewis. Come on now.
so here's where we are. I hope that we will stay here until we get this done. The TSA workers need to be paid. I pass by TSA workers every time I get on a plane. I haven't been on a plane in the last week and a half. I've been here trying to get them paid.
It's
But when
not
I
pretty.
see TSA workers, um, I see human beings. This is not a political game. That's somebody who can't figure out how they're going to pay their mortgage.
Exactly.
That's somebody who's got to pay their kids' tuition. That's somebody who's got to buy groceries. They don't make a lot of money to begin with. And so while they're playing games, these are federal workers who this administration has been waging war against across the board, right? Waging war against the CDC, waging war against veterans who have a lot of these jobs. Now they're waging war against TSA workers. They apparently hate federal workers. And now they're saying we'll hold the TSA workers who are keeping us safe every single day hostage until you pass our voter suppression bill, because we know that we're on track to lose in November. Uh, no to the SAVE Act. We're not about to pass it. If Republicans really cared about TSA workers, they could pay them in the next 15 minutes.
Senator Warnock, your team is pulling you. You are busy, but I thank you for reaching out to this Morgan grad. This Morgan grad says thank you to this Morehouse man. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
And
Great
keep
being
us
here.
abreast and come back anytime and sip some tea and wear your
Absolutely.
paraphernalia next time.
I will do that. Take care. Love you, April. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Be well. That is Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock on his effort to raise research in HBCUs and the HBCU community. I'm telling you, we got the tea. We knocked the pot over.